Representative Ayanna Pressley. Yeah, this Ayanna Pressley.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in defense of communities across America terrorized by the dangerous, rogue, and violent actions perpetrated by ICE agents. I am so tired of white men failing up. This lack of accountability is a shameful, inadequate, and deeply unsatisfactory, and it is re-traumatizing. As a black woman, I want to say that the trauma and the terror is deeply familiar in an ancestral way. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby. A godless, lawless billionaire. He was an election denier, so an election fraud lie. Now, he claims he did these things in the name of patriotism, but really he's just a criminal. So raise your hand if you oppose Trump's pardon of this Minnesota individual.
Ma'am, this grandstanding nonsense
This is not grandstanding.
exactly
this is
what
accountability.
Minnesotans hate about D.C.
This is accountability, and you are hypocrites.
She has a lot of explaining to do.
Call this income from the rental property.
Sir, I submit a financial disclosure, just like everybody else. There's nothing to see here. Thank you.
Is it appropriate for members to make so much money when they're in office? Should there be rules there? Financial disclosure reports show that the wealth of Pressley and her husband Conan Harris swelled from $12,000 in 2019 to as much as $8 million. 5 rental properties earn them up to $350,000 annually. Pressley once advocated to suspend rent during the pandemic. She pushed policies for struggling homeowners.
These little to no cost bills help people remain housed.
Presley's husband is an ex-con who went from serving a decade in jail before they were married for drug trafficking to raking in up to $1 million a year as a business and management consultant.
There are many times where we can see that the spouse is the person who may be bringing in the most income.
And incidentally, exactly what that gentleman just said, the spouse of the publicly elected official is typically the one that's cashing in. That's exactly what's going on with Ilhan Omar, which is another member of the squad who needs to be investigated for their significant increase in wealth since they became a publicly elected official in Washington, D.C.
Lawmakers resist restrictions on outside earnings. Do you think that there should be changes, some different rules about what members can make while they're in office?
These are presumably right-wing reports designed to try to undermine our members.
Right.
And there's nothing credible that has been suggested that I've seen.
But other members worry about their colleagues cashing in on congressional service.
The idea that people's net worth balloons at that level is yet another erosion of public trust.
There was one of the first aphorisms I learned is politics is the art of turning influence into affluence.
Now, the money also followed Pressley's fellow squad member Ilhan Omar to Congress.
That's correct.
The House committee is probing how assets belonging to Omar's husband grew into the millions. Brett?
Chad Burgum, live on Capitol Hill. Chad, thanks.
Now, keep in mind, this is the most recent update that they have on Ayanna Pressley's income. Let me make this a little bigger for you so you can see. And this, again, is from Open Secret's website, and this is from Representative Pressley's 2024 financial disclosures that every single member of Congress needs to make. Now look at this. Just as with Ilhan Omar, who was $55,000 in debt when she came to Washington, Pressley was $12,500 negative in 2018. Just 6 years later, $1.35 million with $8 million in assets. So my question of you is, how did your family do during this stretch, this 6-year stretch, which incidentally had one of the largest pandemics known to man that had massive negative financial issues for most Americans, myself included. But here, Representative Pressley became a multi-millionaire during that same period, right? How could this happen when the average salary for a congressperson, right, is $180,000, $200,000 tops? And if you have to put yourself up in rent while you're in D.C. working, the rent in D.C. is through the roof, or you buy a house, not going to happen. So if you're making $180,000, $200,000 with half of that going to rent, a third of that plus going to the government for taxes. How is this even possible? How is Ilhan Omar and Representative Pressley, how are they able to become millionaires when they're in Congress? That's my question, but I'd like to hear from you. What do you think in the comments? What do you think? How is this possible? Is this the easiest way to become a millionaire? Just to go to Washington, D.C., become a publicly elected official? Well, according to Representative Pressley, that's the case. And, you know, I don't know if you missed it, but her husband was an ex-con. He was in prison for drug trafficking. Comes out, and within a year of being released from prison, he's now making million-dollar contracts as a consultant. Consultant for what? For what? I think about every friend that you have that is a consultant. Within 12 months of them coming out of prison, can you picture that person becoming a multi-million-dollar consultant for anything? This is absurd. This is absurd. There's no question that this needs to be looked into, because, again, the pattern of distrust that Americans have for politicians such as Representative Pressley and Ilhan Omar is in negative numbers at this point. For this exact reason, because how could you possibly go to Washington, D.C., right, in negative net income or negative net worth, and to come out a multimillionaire? Unless you were taking from the taxpayers, unless you were insider trading like Nancy Pelosi, or unless you hook up your ex-con husband into multi-million-dollar contracts in what seems to be, allegedly, pay-for-play. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've yet to subscribe to America First Alerts, please do so. We'd love to have you along for the ride. And again, if you like this video, give it a like. That helps us in the YouTube algorithm. We'll see you in the next video.
We won!
Okay, let's go.